Welcome to the Trading Bell Show. It's been an interesting year where a lot of things need to be discussed about how we're faring on in the markets, especially now that we've just done a whole quarter of the year. Now, this is the month of April. What are we looking forward to? Now, one of the key sectors in the market is the manufacturing sector. And when the manufacturing sector is touched, definitely it goes down to the mwananchi and everybody else, and even the entire sectors that revolve around it, because your food comes from the manufacturing sector in itself. Now, with us today to help us understand this is Job Wanjohi, who is the head of research policy and advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and he's going to help us really demystify what this is all about, what we're expecting with these fuel hikes and what we're seeing around the globe. What do we expect to see? Welcome, Job, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's good to have you here. And, a lot of questions would be asked. We've just seen the budget released. We've just seen, there's a war happening around, and there's a lot of hearsay here and there how these effects are going to happen. And, the fuel has gone up as well.
Yes.
And I could ask a lot of questions out of that. But before I get there, we talk a lot about the manufacturing sector, First of all, I would like you to paint for us a picture. Where are we as a country in terms of the manufacturing sector and contribution to the economy?
Thank you so much, Maina, for having me in this show.
Absolutely.
And that's a very good question about where we are as far as the manufacturing sector is concerned.
Yeah.
If I would look down the road 5 years ago, we were contributing about 9.3%.
9.3%
to the GDP.
Where are we now?
We are at about 7.5, 7.6.
Oh no!
According to the economic survey of
We're going
2021.
Okay.
But I want to encourage ourselves and also the the viewers.
Yes.
That as far as the GDP is concerned, percentage.
Yes.
That's what we are sliding down. Reason, the other sectors that are represented in the whole pie, the 100%, telecommunication, agriculture sector, tourism sector, all these sectors, name them. You find that they are growing faster than the growth that we're experiencing in the manufacturing sector. And that is why I say it is good I try and demystify or show the difference between the percentage and the contribution in terms of shillings.
Okay.
Again, during that period, when we were contributing 9.3% to the GDP, our value added goods that are coming from our factories or from our manufacturing hubs, they were studying at about 500 billion Kenya shillings. That's about 5 years ago.
Okay, 5 years ago.
But over that period of time, we have seen that increasing to an output level, or value-added products, up to about 830 billion Kenya shillings worth of goods.
Quite significant.
That means we are improving as far as the contribution per shilling is concerned.
Okay.
Because that is not being measured against any other sector.
Okay.
But because the pie of 100%, we are being measured against other sectors, that's why other sectors are eating into our percentage. Like now, agricultural sector, the service sector, they have been performing better because this country is very friendly policy-wise to such.
Okay.
Yes.
Basic argument, when we look at the numbers of imports that we see, especially from countries like China. In fact, let me just point out at China and say we sort of also depending on them a lot, and not just us as a country, the globe in itself. I think we have seen big nations making noise about, we are killing our own manufacturing sector. Right here in the country as well, we have quite a bunch of Chinese products coming in as well. My question to you is this: what is stopping us as a country from growing our manufacturing sector to the levels that we are talking about? Because we have seen the net effect of where China is now as a global economy. And yet we still have the opportunity, and they are coming here locally because they can see the opportunity that probably we're not seeing. What is stopping us from getting where we can as well boast as a manufacturing giant?
I would say that we are operating within an ecosystem that is not conducive for industrial growth.
Okay.
And not only in Kenya, but in Africa. If I would look at it from the colonial times,
Yeah.
This was a production center for the raw materials and intermediate products, be it milk to be turned into powder,
Yeah.
or to be turned to something else, and then it is shipped outside the country by the colonial government. And once it has been value added, we would get ready finished products
Yeah, back.
back.
Yes.
The same economic philosophy drives us even today.
Oh.
You find we are unable to confidently and strongly say it is our country now to try and grow it through policies that are really taking care of Kenyan interest first.
Okay.
So what would look at Kenyan interest first is a situation that we are value adding goods locally. After we have our own products that have been, like now the raw materials
Yes.
and intermediate products have been sourced from our agricultural farms,
Yes.
have been sourced from our mining centers,
Yeah.
the coal and the whatnot. They have been sourced, from our blue economy, from
Yeah.
our lakes, from our oceans and whatnot. We do value addition and then we export the same. So what would be ideal for industrialization is a situation whereby we are importing skills.
Okay.
Or knowledge. We are importing technology. We are importing some of the raw materials and intermediate products that cannot be locally available.
Okay.
And then we are exporting what we finally produce using the skill,
Yeah.
the technology, the raw materials that we get locally, intermediate products that we get locally. I would say that is where we can optimize. Let me now get back to your question.
Yeah.
When now you're asking, why is China, India developing faster as far as manufacturing is concerned than us? Is because their policies are export-led. They are looking at how can we promote industrialization to drive our exports.
Okay.
And when you drive your exports, you ensure that you're not only targeting the local market, but huge international market.
Okay.
And you do so by ensuring that you're as competitive
As
as possible.
Yeah.
Competition varies from the pricing to the quality.
Okay.
So you find as far as the pricing is concerned, they are heavily supported by their own governments. Sit down and they map out a value chain. They look at a product. For us to export this product ex-factory price X, what is the cost of production? And how can the government support you as far as the taxes are concerned? As far as various policies are concerned, as far as the skill development is concerned, as far as the technological development is concerned, such that when you are taking that good to an open world market, in a user, it's selling by itself.
By itself, absolutely.
Because the price is competitive. And then as far as the product quality is concerned, you find that such companies also are trying to live according to the standards that have been set by such countries. But most importantly, farm-level intervention. Farm-level intervention is in terms of the efficiency in the utilization of power, efficiency in the utilization of water, efficiency in the utilization of optimization of the human capital and whatnot. So that you have the right quality and at the same time you have the right price for the goods that are coming from that country. So that paints the whole difference between there and here. And here is where now we are trying to make it better over time by looking at the manufacturing index from how we are bringing our raw materials, our intermediate products into the country. Is it competitive? How we are doing production in factory, is it competitive? And competitive from pricing and also from quality perspective. How we are exporting or selling our goods locally within Kenya and the EAC region. Are we competitive enough? that will be our selling point. And that's when someone will get to a shelf, look at a Kenyan product, look at a Chinese product, or at an Indian product, and find that price-wise, they are the same, quality-wise are the same. And if you are patriotic enough, you'll say, let me promote what is locally manufactured by Kenya, build Kenya.
Wow. And absolutely, and we are promoting that philosophy that we need to buy Kenya, build Kenya. But now, from a layman perspective, where I sit, the situation doesn't seem to be improving. Why? Look at the recent fuel hike that we've just seen. I'm sure we're just about to get into that conversation about the budget, and I'm sure we have some pain points that are about to hit us. So looking at it, you've just mentioned one factor there, government and the support of government. And I'm going to put you on the spot here, but the question is this, from where you sit, is government doing enough to support not only just the large-scale manufacturers, because I know you represent also the small-scale ones, is government doing enough to cover this cycle that is very important for the development of the economy?
Let me jump the gun and look at the budget statement before you ask me about the budget statement.
I know, I mentioned it, yes.
What is contained? You see, like, there's heavy mention of the small and medium enterprises.
Yeah.
As far as the availability of the credit or financing is concerned, looking at like now the credit guarantee scheme that helps the small and medium enterprises to access the same finances from commercial and development bank, because a collateral security is no longer required. What is required is only bankability and ability to repay back, because your systems have been audited. It has been found that you can be able to pay back because payment is important for another person to access the same facility.
You're right.
Or repayment is important. So if you look also at development of the industrial parks that are accessible to the small and medium enterprises, when you talk about medium and large enterprises, the special economic zones, talk of export processing zones, all these you find has been captured in the budget. But the major question comes in. When you allocate 2 billion or 3 billion to the credit guarantee scheme, and we have about 15 million small and medium enterprises, not only in manufacturing but even in other sectors, because it's a whole basket that is going to access these.
Yes.
Do you think 2 billion or 3 billion is enough for credit guarantee scheme? No.
It's not.
Credit guarantee scheme that would work efficiently for you to get this collateral security of 2 billion or 3 billion, for you to be able to access credit of about 100 billion or 200 billion, would be about 20 billion Kenyan shillings.
Absolutely. It's a bit substantial.
Yes, that's a bit substantial. When you talk of credit guarantee scheme, because you find banks would like to lend to the small and medium enterprise, but because of the risk environment that we're operating in, they are unable. So the government need to come in handy, pump more fund into such a scheme to ensure that as many small and medium enterprises have been covered. Okay. So I would say that the spirit is good, but it is not resonating with the numbers on the ground.
Numbers on the ground. V2 qua ground. Yes. Okay. That's an important part to look at. And let's now get into the budget, because it was read the other day. So people are still trying to, decipher this. And I know you also seated on the table, because it's still a bill. It's about to be tabled down. What's your initial, first of all, reactions, especially from what you represent, the manufacturing sector? I'm sure you have some few things that you've picked out already that you could share with us.
As manufacturing, we have interrogated the national budget statement and the finance bill 2022, because this is what is going to guide our expenditure and our revenue collection mechanisms for the next 1 year, starting from July this year. And this is a budget, again, that is going to be implemented by the next regime. That means the current government has just set the ground for an incoming government to just come and implement.
Absolutely.
Looking at it from the big figures, what we call the macro figures.
Yes.
The big figures is when we're talking of what is the total budget, what is the total revenue collection,
yes,
what has been allocated to the county government,
yes,
the 47 of them. These are the big numbers.
Those are the big numbers, yes.
And they also affect us as manufacturers. Quite huge, because if the target for revenue collection is here,
yes,
and is not here, from who the revenue will be collected?
We will
it's
have to
from the manufacturing,
absolutely,
the other sectors.
Yes,
and the manufacturing contributes about 20% of the revenues that are collected by the government.
Okay.
That's about a fifth. That means it's such an important sector for revenue collection.
Very.
And it's a discussion that we can have for another day, how these, again, has affected the competitiveness.
Yes.
Back to the budget. So the budget, or the whole expenditure, has been set at about 3.3 trillion shillings.
Yes.
And the revenues to be collected during that period is about 2.4 trillion shillings. That means there is a projected difference, or what is called deficit, difference between the expenditure and the revenue of about 900 billion shillings.
Absolutely.
Which again has to be has to be spent through loans that are going to be domestically or internationally obtained by the government. So one area that makes me, feel like even the household level, if you manage it like that,
it doesn't work well.
It will not work well. That you are financing some of your. Let me just put it, in simple terms.
Yes.
For instance, buying of your own milk in the house.
Yes.
You are buying through loan. Or paying for your water.
Yeah.
Or for electricity. You are doing this through loan.
Through loans.
The mathematics will not add up at the
work
household level, or at that family level. In the same case, when we are managing the government, what I find ideal is a government that has a balanced budget between revenues and expenditure, without borrowing. And if not that, a government that can have a safety net, whereby the revenues are more through conducive revenue structure, are more than the expenditure. And then the surplus could go into savings that can help in stabilizing some prices that are ridiculous prices that we're seeing today, like now on wheat, on petrol, on edible oils and whatnot. The government can say, out of 100 tons or 100,000 tons of edible oil, we are pumping this much to the edible oil marketers or oil manufacturers. By doing so, then there is an agreement that when it's hitting the market, it's hitting at this price. That means we have been able to caution. But we are not at that point whereby we can be able to caution Mwananchi.
You're not there.
Because of the deficit or the difference between what we are collecting every day and what we are spending every day.
Wow.
So that's now at the macro level.
Yes.
Whereby now, if you look at the much that we are paying back loans with and the interests that we are paying out of the principal repayment, you find also is a huge amount that is eating into our pie big time. Absolutely. About third or about quarter. It's almost a half of what we collect is going into payment of our debts and the payment of the interest. That's why I feel I'm discouraging a bit.
It's not
if
healthy.
We can be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, without overborrowing, without the interest rate repayments. I think that would be an ideal position for this country. Now, looking at that budget again now from the manufacturing perspective, because again you have asked also from the manufacturing perspective, where are we feeling like there is a loss and there is a win? We applaud the government for introducing exemptions for the pharmaceutical manufacturers on some of the raw materials and intermediate products on IDF and RDL. Allow me where I have to put a but.
Yes, where's the but?
The but comes in where our ask as manufacturers was exemption of all manufactured products. So we applaud the government
for that
sector. For the pharmaceutical sector. And I ask, can we have all these other sectors exempted from IDF and RDL? You move to another taxation measure called EDITBA. That is earnings before depreciation, interest, taxation, amortization, and whatnot. You find that exemption from the current rate of 30%, that is allowable interests. It is only the microfinances that have been exempted from the 30%, and they're reversing back to the old formula. As we had asked the same. So we applaud the government again for the microfinance that have been allowed or they have been exempted from EDITBA, but manufacturing sector has not been exempted. And we ask for them to be exempted because we're headed to the parliament to defend this. When you look at the excess duty rates that are coming up, you find that there is a revision on the tobacco products. You find there is a revision on juices. There is a revision on bottled waters. There is a revision on various products. You find that that revision is going to affect the competitiveness of the goods that are locally manufactured. The excess duty, the essence of having an excess duty, is a sin tax. Is to protect the health of Mwananchi against some products. And there is healthy debate that goes between the government and manufacturers of such products. But is water...
Water is not a...
Is it a sin to consume water?
It's not a sin.
You can let me know. So are we increasing excess duty on water? It should not be increased.
It shouldn't.
In fact, we should be looking at the water is available at all corners of this country. The small and medium enterprises, provided they are meeting the health standard, they should be facilitated to be able to park. And once they park, they can access every corner of this country. Through these, they can be able to get little coins for themselves. I've talked about the positives. Allow me to also to talk about a few negatives. One is when you're talking about a tax case that has been put in a tax tribunal. You find that...
and I've seen several.
You find that for your case to be heard in the tribunal, first of all, you need to deposit 50% of the disputed amount with the public coffers, the National Treasury. After now you have deposited, your case is heard. I think within 60 days. I think within 60 days. Within those 60 days, if you win the case as a manufacturer, you are refunded the amount in 30 days. And if you lose, you pay the extra 50%.
That was remaining,
There are two issues here. One is, why pay this 50% and we are cash constrained? Here we are talking about...
Already, because you had to pay
access to credit. When you talk about the small, medium and large enterprises, access to credit to some is a challenge. So why are you going to deposit amounts with the government that you could have otherwise used times 3, times 4, times 5
of what
to grow your company? So that means it comes with cash flow issues. The second thing is when you're talking of the refund mechanism. When did the government refund within 30 days?
This is new. We're hoping they will.
I hope they're going to be. But the past experience today tells us that is going to be a bit hard to hit. And it's my ambition, my aspiration that they can live not only when you're talking, if they're going to win the argument around the tax tribunal and the amounts to the disputed tax amounts to be deposited with the National Treasury, but also when you're talking about other VAT refunds, withholding VAT refund, talk about the credit adjustment voucher, the discussion that we've been having for a very, very long time, out of the old VAT refund formula. So you find we're dragging on and on and on. So I'm a bit pessimistic that we'll live within those 30 days that they have put there. You may find a case has been won today, payments will be done back to that person after 1 or 2 years. Which is very unfortunate.
Because there's appeals and all those kind of things. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about, and I know there could be a lot we could unpack from the budget, but we wish you well in the tribunal as you go to sit in there and talk to the members of parliament. When there's transition of government, I think I see a lot of loopholes that could be taken advantage of and can end up affecting the Mwananchi. And so a lot of people are watching and seeing, and we can see the after effect. But I wanted you to touch on this fuel sector because the fuel has gone up.
Yes.
And I remember, I think I was one of the people who queued quite long enough on Friday before the price was hitting somewhere else.
Yes, yes.
There's definitely going to be a net effect on some of the products that we use. And, I dedicated this show to speak to the people on the ground.
Yes.
What do you see, especially from the manufacturer side of it, especially talking about the products they're going to give us?
When there is always an increment on the price of the raw materials, the intermediate products.
Yeah.
And just to tell you that that diesel and petrol, they are an input in manufacturing.
Absolutely.
An input as a raw material or as an intermediate product, especially like when you're talking about the manufacturing of the paint and the paint products.
Yeah.
Those who are in car painting, in the house painting, in making of the shoe, we call it what? The one that we normally apply on our shoes.
The kiwis and all
that.
The
kiwis and
shoe polish.
Yes. The shoe polish.
Yes.
All these is likely to be affected because one thing, kerosene is the one that is used in the manufacture of the same. Behind it is the usage of diesel in the running of the generators that are used in the production.
Yeah.
And behind it again, there is usage of diesel and petrol in movement of the human capital. There's movement of the products from
the goods themselves.
The goods themselves from the factory to the consumption point.
Yes.
All these, when you look at that ecosystem, it can only call for manufacturer either to reduce the margins they make, because anyway, anybody in business has to make some margins or some profits.
Absolutely.
If they reduce those profits so that they maintain the same price at the retail
Which is
price.
highly unlikely.
Which is highly unlikely because you cannot reduce to 2% or 1% because, again, the profits must sustain your company.
You're right.
They must expand your company and whatnot.
You're right.
So when you look at the fuel crisis that we are in, there are internal reasons and the external reasons to it.
Yeah.
One of the external reasons to it is where we source the crude oil.
Yeah.
There's crisis like now in Russia and Ukraine.
Absolutely.
You find also when in other sources because of the demand and supply issues internationally, the prices have gone high. The barrel, US dollars per barrel, or that is ile mtungi.
Yes, the mtungi one. Yes,
mtungi,
that's the barrel.
The barrel.
Yes.
The mtungi that we put the oil in.
Yeah.
It was going for $40
yes.
Per barrel about 2 years ago. Today we are talking of 105 plus US dollars.
Wow.
That means it's an X2 or closer to an X3
absolutely
price of diesel.
Yeah.
Another reason is when you talk of the exchange rate. If you look at the exchange rate, Kenya against US dollar, because internationally most of the trade is conducted at the hard currency, the US dollar.
Yeah.
We were exchanging at about 100 shillings per dollar 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Today we are oscillating between 112 and 115.
And 15, yeah.
So that's a heavy loss on Kenya shilling against the US dollar.
Yeah.
And that loss is only favorable for an exporting country. It's not favorable for an importing country. That's where now you find a product that was being imported at 100 shillings.
Yes.
Because of losing at about 12% through that depreciation.
Yes.
It's going for not 100 now. It's going for 110, 112, because we have to cover for that import, that exchange rate.
Absolutely.
So the central bank has tried to, as much as possible, to put various monetary terms or the mechanisms that are put by the central bank to regulate, but they can only get to a certain extent and allow the forces of demand and supply play within that market.
You're right.
The third, now, I was talking about the external reasons. The internal reasons.
Yes, internal ones now.
Yes, is when you're talking of about 50% of liter of diesel or liter of petrol or liter of kerosene, 50% are taxes to the government.
Wow. 50%.
50% taxes to the government.
The government needs to do something now.
Yes, that's the reason. Yes. If we cannot be able to resolve the external challenges, we need to look at the internal challenges. Like now, that is one of them. Let's look at all the levies and the charges, the taxes that are put on that bill, on that liter of petrol or liter of diesel, and see how can we get it back down to 25%. We pride in East Africa that we have the lowest price as far as diesel, petrol is concerned.
You're right, because of the subsidies and all.
Because of the subsidy.
Yes.
But again, it begs the question, is our subsidy sustainable?
And who is paying for that subsidy?
Our subsidy looks a bit unsustainable because of the crisis we are seeing between the government, the oil marketers, you see, and the supply of the product into the market. They are protesting non-payment and whatnot, besides other factors that are playing behind that have not been explained to us. But what has come to the fore mainly is the Stabilization Fund, the Fuel Price Stabilization Fund. So how can we have a regulation around it? How can we have an authority around it? How can we have a semi-autonomous body separate from the National Treasury that is running this independently so that they can regulate the prices independently without the funds, first of all, going to the Consolidated Fund. After they have gone to the Consolidated Fund, you find the government now is challenged as far as retrieving the same, because probably it has been used for other needy government expenditures. So what we need to see is the government, instead of introducing the Stabilization Fund, whereby it receives, then it pays back, it can reduce on the taxation. And then we can have up to a certain level whereby the price of a product, because of the external forces, goes to, and then the government can say it is up to this level that we will do A, B, C, D. But beyond there, our taxation level will remain at as low as this. But when it gets to any above that, we will introduce a 2% extra or 3% extra, so that we can have a balanced, a balanced pricing of the product nationally.
Okay. Job, from where I see it, I feel like the government is at a very, let me not use the word confused, but a very bad state. The point is this. I'm trying to relate the two aspects that we've talked about. We've talked about the budget, we're talking about fuel here. And there's a budget here that is heavily dependent on what we are giving out as the citizens and the tax, and it's still not enough, and they have to borrow to really get to the target. And we have an issue here where they're still taxing us heavily, especially on the fuel products. One of the suggestions that you've given is that they could maybe cut on those taxes, but these are the same taxes they're looking at, so that at least they can fund their own budget. I don't know from where you see it. Is it a time that the government just took a break and said, I think we need to look inward first before we just keep jumping up and down with the projects that we're looking at and all those kind of things, so that we can live within our means? What would you advise the government if you were sitting there?
There is a heavy term that we normally use, what is called the fiscal consolidation.
The fiscal consolidation. Let's talk about that.
The fiscal consolidation is whereby the government now looks especially at its expenditure. And realizes we are overboard.
We're overboard, yes.
As far as expenditure is concerned, we have double expenditure as far as payroll is concerned. We have double expenditure as far as capital expenses like on roads and whatnot is concerned. We need to see how we can reduce on this. I would first of all look at the development expenditure as part of now the fiscal consolidation. We need to look at how we can finalize the already started projects, because it's even more of a loss when you don't finish a project,
Absolutely.
yet you have pumped lots of money into
To
it.
it,
Let's finish what you've started.
Yeah.
But can we go slow on starting
New ones? Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
And every government has to come and start a new project because it can only leave its legacies through what can be seen.
I really want to applaud what you're doing at the association and the work that you're doing. And so keep pushing. Let's see this implementation happening. But my final question is to the Wananchi. And the question is, are you telling the Wananchi to brace themselves for harder times?
I'm one person who likes remaining positive because negativity will not take you anywhere.
Yes.
But only kill the small strength and the energies that you have with
That you have left, yes.
So I'm one person who likes remaining optimistic,
Yeah.
Positive,
Yeah.
that can always get better.
Yeah.
We only need to have a government that is committed, even at the tail end of its term.
Yeah.
And a new government that is committed at the beginning of its term to look at the welfares of Mwananchi.
You're right.
Even if it calls for stoppage of one capital project that is going on. So that 100 billion Kenyan shillings or 200 billion Kenyan shillings are pumped into supporting the welfare, the general welfare of Mwananchi, the prices of commodities. So that we don't see these skyrocketing prices because of the external issues and the internal issues.
Okay.
I think this would take us to a level whereby we have cautioned the Mwananchi during the elections and after the general elections. Once things have stabilized, then we can continue such a capital project, and Mwananchi will have fared better, not the pinch they're likely to feel if such measures are not taken during this period.
Wow. They say that the tough can't get going, so we have to keep being tough and supporting really such associations that are really doing such great work in ensuring that our agenda is taken care of. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
That's Job Wanjohi, the head of policy research and advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers.